Hello, I'm Amèlie de Brem, working with Ray at Potentiate from the Paris office, as you might hear through my accent. And my role is to lead the European client service team. And we are helping clients from various industries to better understand not only their customers, but the humans who are behind. And you'll shortly understand what I'm talking about.
Thank you, Amèlie. So Ray here, and I guess the first message is that times have changed. Most products do not have a unique sustainable advantage over other products anymore. The quality of service of one brand can be matched by others. It's not always matched by others, but it can be. Most brands do not have a sustainable advantage in terms of distribution, logistics, or supply. And yes, very occasionally an advertising campaign goes viral. But most brands get what they pay for. We have dollar parity. We have parity in product, service, supply, and in the advertising. So we need to look at what we can do beyond that. So what are the key changes? Well, we've seen a move from the product to the experience. We've seen a move from product centricity to customer centricity. And now we're seeing a move from customer centricity to human centricity. When we focus on brands and we look at models such as pathway to purchase, or we create segmentations that show how different people relate to our brand, we're assuming that people rotate around brands. We've got an inside-out point of view. But actually, if we look at it from a people's point of view, from an outside-in point of view, what we see is that brands rotate around people.
So if we want to illustrate this concept, we can look at this page produced by our colleague Simon. And he looked at all the brands that rotate around his life, those that from his side are the most present and visible. And as you see, it's a wide repertoire of company logos. And the frequency of integration he has with them may vary enormously, as well as the level of affinity and emotional connection he may have with those brands. And finally, some of these brands are more relevant sometimes and less relevant all the time. Because if you think of it, brands are not that close to us. And for example, if I think about my life, it is my family and friends that are immediately around me, not the brand. And then it's my colleagues and neighbors. And only then would I start to think about the brands that are rotating around me. And for Simon, as for him, depending on the context, they would become more relevant or less relevant. For example, when I am with my children, I'm not so interested in my favorite fashion brand. Whereas when I'm with my friend in the running club, I'm very interested in ASICS, Core, or Salomon. But only there, not when I'm with my children or when I'm in the office. So it is true, these brands rotate around us, but actually, usually they are quite a long way from us. And they need to come us with very good reason to be listened to. Now, from a business point of view, Seth Godin says, don't find customers for your product, find products for your customers. And basically, he's saying the same point. People do not rotate around brands. Brands have to deliver things that help people in some way so that it takes sense in their life. And we can really see this with our clients. I can think of one of our FMCG clients who was explaining to us that the company was currently going through a cultural change. As a manufacturer, they have always been focused on product development only from the engineer perspective. And now they include their customer in their product development process to make sure it meets their needs. So they moved from a product centricity to a customer centricity. And if we're thinking about our customers, about employees, and to reuse what the American business guru Simon Sinek said, 100% of customers are people, 100% of employees are people. So if you don't understand people, you don't understand business. And this brings us back to the importance of research. If you want to understand people, then you need research. And at Potentiate, we're calling understanding people the human experience, or HX.
Thanks, Amèlie. So I want to draw attention to something that Stan Snuthanen, one of the key figures really in the market research world from the client side, and he said this as long ago as 2009. We're too focused on understanding consumption behavior and shopping behavior. We need to understand the human condition, which you'll only know by observing, listening, synthesizing, and deducing. And he makes the really key point that we have to carry on doing standard research. We have to carry on finding out all the things that we used to do, but we need to go further. We've really got to focus on this human condition. So when I look at the brands that are successful, the brands that have utilized a human experience, an HX perspective, what I see is that they've tended to adopt 3 pillars towards their understanding: empathy, belonging, and authenticity. So here's a great example of a finance brand, Guardian, using an empathy lab. They go through exercises in this lab that simulate different challenges, elastic bands put around their fingers to imitate limited dexterity, visual impairment. They also have a chance to chat to people who have these challenges. For example, in one of the stations, there was a person there who had been blind from birth, and he talked about the difficulties of opening a bank account. Your customers are often different to you. To be empathetic, you've actually got to learn about them. It won't come naturally. Belonging, another key characteristic. If you want your customers to belong to you, you need to belong to them. It's a reciprocal thing. Vans customers like skateboarding, so Vans belongs to skateboarding. In London, they bought some tunnels and they created an indoor skate park and an event centre. That showed their belonging to their people. In terms of authenticity, I think Patagonia probably do it better than almost anybody else. They focus on authenticity. 1% of their sales are given over to environmental projects. They campaign to protect the environment. But the single best thing they do from an authenticity point of view is they create durable products. They emphasize that people should only buy what they use. They should repair things if they get torn or damaged. And when they no longer use them, they should pass them on to somebody else. Don't just buy stuff. Buy what you need, use what you buy, pass it on when you don't need to. One of our clients in Australia is the Huggies brand, and they've done some fantastic work, not particularly related to us, but I really want to shout out about the quality of what they've done. They've produced this campaign where they've talked to mums about the challenges they find and the social media problems and the fact that these mums really don't think they're doing a great job. But then they talked to their children, to their husbands, to their partners, to the grandparents, the father-in-laws, the mother-in-laws, and they all think they're doing a great, super job. And just reinforcing that Huggies understands the whole concept of childbearing. It's nothing to do with nappies most of the time. It's a much bigger issue, and they understand this world.
Thank you, Ray. Now that we've talked about these 3 pillars and the examples, I just wanted to highlight that communities are a fantastic way for brands to adopt a human experience approach. And we do this on a regular basis with our clients. First, online community help our client to develop empathy through a deep understanding of their customer as human with different activities. With longitudinal research, we can follow specific behaviors over the time. We can run customer closeness programs. For example, a restaurant chain explored what do their customers do when they are not eating a meal at their restaurant. We can use video diaries to understand people's life. We can link to other data sets to get a holistic picture of people. And also, to go back to the second pillar, online communities allow brands to do market research in a more authentic way, having two-way conversations with their members. People share what they think, and brands share back with them what they have learned and what they will do with the learnings. It's real conversation between humans. And finally, online communities reinforce the belonging aspect, putting the customer at the center of the brand strategy. And for example, the online research community of one of our clients is integrated directly to their CRM program. So members are like an advisory board. They are not respondent to a survey. They are real people who contribute to the brand development. So just to remind you, here are the questions we've raised. So first, what do your customers do when they are not buying or using your products? What are their needs and challenges? What is their why? How do things change over time? How can you build empathy, belonging, and authenticity?
Thank you from Amèlie and myself, and we look forward to your questions.